2017 crime statistics showed an increase of 11% with 152 cash-in-transit robberies. Recently, the spate of a number of cash-in-transit heists that have been happening around the country has once again brought the issue of safety and security into the spotlight. Perpetrators are now using a more violent modus operandi to carry out the crimes. To talk to us more about this, we joined from our studios in Pretoria by Yusuf Ambramjee. He's an anti-crime activist. Good morning to you, Yusuf. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Nice seeing you again. Good morning, Palesa.
Thank you so much for coming through. We know that at this current moment, there aren't any exact numbers of these cash-in-transit robberies that have been happening. But from what we've been reporting on for the past few months, are we right to say that we're seeing an increase on the cash-in-transit heists?
Most certainly, I believe we've seen a dramatic increase. Almost every day we're having CIT, cash-in-transit robberies. Very worrying trend, as you correctly mentioned, is that these robberies are becoming more violent. They're using commercial explosives. These gangs come heavily armed, AK-47s, R4 rifles, R5 rifles. They've got resources. They've come with several vehicles. We even see them making away with millions and millions of rands in cash. We know that the crime statistics come out annually. There was a reported 11% increase, but yesterday evening, the South African Banking Risk Information Council, through their CEO, Kalyani Pillay, gave me some very worrying statistics. In fact, when I look at the figures for 2017, I'm talking of a calendar year, Palesa, from January to December. In 2017, we had 378 CIT robberies compared to 2016, where we had 268. That reflects an increase of 41%. Very worrying. In the two categories of robberies that we have, namely cross-pavement robberies and attacks on vehicles on the roads, in 2016, we had 51 attacks on vehicles on the roads, and in 2017, it almost doubled to 102. And if I just look very quickly at this year, between January the 1st and the 4th of April, the figures show that we had in South Africa, in the previous year, nine attacks on cash-in-transits, in so-called road attacks. And in this year alone, we had 34, which means that we are dealing with a national crisis.
It is indeed. It's very worrying. But it looks like the Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police is also all right, because the chairperson has apparently raised the matter with the National Police Commissioner. What do you think needs to be done going forward, Yusuf?
Well, indeed, I'm happy that Francois Beekman, the chairman of the Portfolio Committee, raised it. He called for increased intelligence. He called for increased policing. I think there is no quick fix solution. We need all role players to get together urgently. The arrest rate is very, very low from what I've seen. There have been a few arrests, and yes, there is alleged police involvement in some of the robberies. These gangs are daring, they are dangerous. We need the security companies to come on board. I know G4S has been very hard hit over the past year or two, followed by Fidelity. SBV Security, on the other hand, seem to have taken various measures to bring down the number of cash-in-transit robberies. And yes, these robberies are not going to be solved overnight. We need the public to blow the whistle on the criminals. We need the law enforcement agencies to get their act together. We need the public to blow the whistle because someone, somewhere, somehow knows something about who's behind these robberies. We also have to make sure that the NPA, when these people get arrested, make sure that they are charged, that they are convicted, and they are punished. So there is a multifaceted approach. I'm meeting with the SEBRIC leadership tomorrow to discuss what needs to be done. And we've seen videos doing the round, Palesa, very worrying. People just going and videoing in broad daylight. Last week alone, there were about 4 or 5 robberies. Mpumalanga was hard hit. Gauteng seems to be the hardest hit. And these gangs are making away with millions. I remember as a young journalist in the early or the late 1990s, in 2000s, the names of Colin Chauke came to the fore. The names of the Bronco Spate robbers came to the fore. Marble Hall. We seem to be going back to that period. And let me take one perception away. People say we normally see an increase in these robberies ahead of elections. Not necessarily so. These robbers strike whenever they can. All they want is the millions, and we know billions of rands get carried. And I think the security industry themselves need to get together, but we need to blow the whistle. We need to strengthen partnerships at every level, Palesa.
Yeah, and as you said, Yusuf, that It seems like they are carried out by organized gangs who use explosives that are, of course, endanger the lives of us as the public and the security guards. How do we keep safe as the public, more so on the roads? Because these things are now happening just in the middle of traffic.
Indeed, last week I saw a video being circulated on social media of a family, and you could hear the children talking in the background, filming the cash in transit a few meters away from where it happened outside Nelspruit. My advice is stay clear. When you see these robberies taking place, don't be brave enough to either pull out your gun or your cell phone. And if you do take out your cell phone, be very cautious. Make sure you do it very, very quietly without putting your life at risk. Do not get involved in the crossfire. Immediately call 10111, the emergency police number. You can also use the Namola Dial Direct app and just press the button and we guarantee a callback within 90 seconds. Try to remember the cars, the descriptions, but do not get involved in the crossfire. And we've even seen, very sadly, Palesa, in some of the cases where the videos were filming, people are cheering the robbers on. And that says a lot about our society, very sadly. We cannot encourage this type of thing. But the public must blow the whistle on these gangs. These gangs are highly trained. They almost work with military precision. And we really have to make sure, because it's someone in our community who knows who's involved in these robberies. It's somebody who might be your neighbor, your colleague, your family member. And it's time has come now for us to really say enough is enough. But also, I think it must be placed on the national agenda. I had the opportunity, for example, to walk with President Cyril Ramaphosa at the Gandhi Walk on Sunday. I raised the issue of kidnapping of business people in South Africa. The President also expressed his concern. We have to fight crime. We have to make sure that we strengthen the partnerships. And I think everyone, including the police service, must get their act together.
All right. And we've seen many people, of course, are very much hopeful that the crime stats will go down now that the former National Police Commissioner, Bheki Cele, is the new Minister of Police.
Well, we hope so. You know, he's a man of action. He's very vibrant. He's dynamic. And I think Minister Bheki Cele, coming as the former National Police Commissioner, has a lot of experience. We don't need only tough talk. We now need to see action. The honeymoon, in my view, is over for the minister. Let's get down to work. The police must get their act together. The security companies must get together. They must beef up the security, the resources, the vehicles. And more importantly, the public must get involved to blow the whistle on these crimes.
All right, Yusuf, we have to leave it at that, but we're hopeful that everything will go well accordingly. Thank you so much for coming through. Yusuf Ambramjee is an anti-crime activist, of course, talking to us about an increase in cash and transit crimes as he was giving out the numbers. It looks like the numbers are going up. I mean, according to SABRIC, of course, those that are responsible for our banks here in South Africa. We're taking a quick ad break here on Morning Live. When we